Hi dear friends, in my previous lecture we have started Lost Forest, a lesson or extract written by Johannes B. Jensen, and we have seen brief information about the author Jensen. We are going to start the lesson line by line. As we have seen, the story is told essentially from the point of view of Slab owner Korra, who purchased a slab in the market, a strong slab. But however, it is a story about the slave who had no voice in the story. He was never named. He had no dialogues, and his only value was his labor. So let us start line by line the lesson. Korra was the name of a man who tilled the soil. Means farmer. When he had saved money, he went to town to buy a slab. The dealer showed him several slabs, but Korra was not satisfied. In the market, the situation is in the market now. The dealer of the slab showed him several slabs, but Korra was not satisfied. Dealer said or complained that I suppose you want me to drag them all out here. It was noon and the slabs were all asleep. Means there are many slabs with him, but all were sleeping. And that's why he hesitated to bring them all before the Korra. Korra simply replied that I can always go elsewhere. No businessman wants to go away. The purchaser. And that's why he immediately said, well, the dealer pulled the chains and the slaves filed out sleepily. Korra looked at them all, examining each one very carefully. The dealer put all the slaves before Korra, and Korra looked them minutely, examining each one very carefully. Dealer said, feel this one. He is a fine husky fellow. And pushed one of the slaves forward. Dealer just pushed one slave before the Korra, just like a thing, just like an object. And said, what do you think of him? Hasn't he a powerful chest? Hasn't he a powerful chest means a stout and strong person? Strike it and see. And look here at his wrists. The tendons are like the strings of violin. Tendons means the veins looking over the body. The tendons are like the strings of violin. Open your mouth, the dealer said to the slave. The dealer thrust a finger in the slave's mouth and turned his towards the light. He just put his fingers in the mouth of a slave and turned towards the light. Turned his mouth towards the light. Now you will see some teeth, he boasted. He drew a back of a knife across the slave's teeth. He drew a backside of the knife. He drew backside of the knife in the mouth of that slave over the teeth. Look, those teeth are like steel. They can bite a nail in two. Nail, iron nail. The nail which we generally um, put in a wall. That nail he can bite into two easily because his teeth are like a steel. Korra bethought himself at while. He ran his hand over the slave appraisingly. Appraisingly. Appraise means to praise. He ran his hand over the slave appraisingly, over the body of the slave, pressing the smooth muscles with the tips of his fingers to see if they were firm. Just putting the fingers on the body of the slave and pushing it. He just wanted to test the stoutness and strongness of his body. Finally, he made up his mind to buy him. After checking all the physical appearance of that slave, Korra decided to purchase that slave, particular that slave whom Korra liked most, paid the price with a scroll, had the slave unmanacled, and took him home. Unmanacled. There were manacles in the hands of slave. Actually, the slave was captivated by the dealer. So dealer unmanacled his wrists from the bondage. From that bondage, and Korra took him to his home. Before many days has passed, the slave fell sick and began to pine away. Began to pine means disappointed. He was disappointed. He fell sick. He fell ill. Now that he has on longer in the market, he was on longer in the market, but had settled down permanently. He began to long for the forest whence he had come. Somewhere he has his native place in the forest, and somewhere he came from. He reminded his native place and longed means disappointed. He was completely disappointed that he felt that he will not be able to go to his native place in future. It was excellent sign. Korra knew symptoms. One day he sat down beside the slab. Korra sat down beside the slab and started to discuss with him. Who was lying flat on his back with no interest in life. The slave was ill, disappointed, and had no interest in life, and began to talk thoughtfully to him. Korra was there near to him and he started to speak with him thoughtfully. Korra says, "You shall get back your forests. Never fear." Means you need not worry about going to your native place. You can go. That I promise you. And you can rely on my promises. Korra is the owner and the person is a slave. The slave has to rely on the promises of the owner. You are still young. What Korra says to the slave? You are still young, you know. If you will till my field for me, willingly and industriously, for 5 years, I will give you your freedom, even though I have paid for you 5 years. Is it a bargain? Korra said to the slave that I have paid for you to the dealer. I am feeding to you also. If you work for me industriously for 5 years, definitely I will let you go to your forests. Is it bargain? Asked Korra to the slave. There was no reply from slave's side. So the slave agreed with the proposal of the Korra. And the slave worked. He took hold like a demon. It was a joy for Korra to sit in his doorways and watch those muscles knot and quiver under the brown skin, and Korra did this for many hours a day. For there was nothing he would rather do. He began to realize that the body is a beautiful thing and a delight to the eye. It was habit of Korra to see the working slave with heavy working. His muscles was quite stout and strong and looking beautiful. So it was the matter of joy for Korra to see the working slave and his body. The slave industriously and hardly working there because he means Korra assured him that he will let him go to his native place. 5 years the slave figured as many solstices as he had fingers. He counted all these 5 years on his fingers. The sun had to turn 10 times. The sun had to turn 10 times from south to north and north to south. Every evening he watched the sun go down and knolls. When the sun had turned the first time, he counted on the thumb of his right hand. He started to count from the thumb of right hand. After the passage of another solstice, and it seemed an eternity, the index finger was free. Index finger, that is this finger. It seemed an eternity, the index finger was free. These two fingers he loved above the others, which still served to mark his bondage. There are only two fingers left. He loved these two fingers most. And now there are only two fingers left to make him free from his bondage. Thus, telling the days and marking the passage of time became the religion of the slave, his inner wealth, his spiritual treasure, which could take from him or dispute with him. As the time passed, his calculations expanded, became broader and deeper. The years drove by as great boundless abstractions, which he could not grasp. But with every new sunset glow, the slave recreated his hope and reconstructed his faith. Time, which was evanescent in the present, appeared interminable. Once it was in the past, and the future seemed infinitely distant. Future is distant for him now. He tried to forget the past. Hope are reconstructed or recreated by him day by day. Boundless abstractions are there in his mind because very soon he is going to free from the bondage of the Korra. In such a wise, the slave's spirit was deepened. As his longing brought infinity into time, so his world became infinite. and his thoughts boundless. Every evening the slave stared thoughtfully into the distant west, and each sunset brought more and more depth into his soul. Very curiously, the slave and eagerly waiting for his freedom and just counting the days eagerly, earnestly. As time passes, his thoughts become boundless. He became quite excited when the years passed. His hopes and ambitions are increased day by day. When finally the 5 years had ebbed away, it is so easy to say the words. The slave came to his master and asked for his freedom. He wanted to go to his home in the forest. It was his innermost desire to go to the west, that is, to his native place in the forest. And for that, he had worked for 5 years recklessly, hardly, industriously. And now he is free to ask to his master about his freedom. When he asked to his master, Korra admitted and said that you have been a faithful worker. Definitely, you have been a faithful worker. Tell me, where is your home? Is it in the west? I have often watched you staring in that direction. Many times I have watched you staring at that direction into the west. Is your home there in the west? Korra asked to the slave. Slave said, yes, his home was in the west. It is far away then, Korra said. The slave nodded far away. And you have no money, have you? The basic question asked by Korra to the slave. And you have no money, have you? In today's world, we just can't imagine that any person will work for us without taking a single penny or rupee. The time indicated in this extract is old, and at that time, once you purchased a slave, you just have to feed him throughout his life, and he will work for you without taking a single money. That was the habit. That was the habitual activity during those days. The slave was silent. And you have no money, have you? The question made the slave silent. Dismayed means distressed. No, that was right. He had no money. Actually, Korra did not give him a single rupee for his devotional work for him. Look, you can get nowhere without money. Korra is saying to the slave, look, you can get nowhere without money. If you want to go to your house, you must have money. Unless and until you have money, you cannot go there. If you work for me for more 3 years, no, let it be 2. I will give you enough money for your travels. What is the business? Korra asked the slave to work for more 2 years to get the money from Korra. This is a trap. This is a trap spread by the Korra because he wanted to more. He wanted from the slave more work for him. The slave bowed his head. There was no word to the slave. So he bowed his head and went into harness again. Without speaking a single word, he went to harness. He worked well, but no longer did he keep track of the passing days as formerly. There was a difference between his previous work and the work he is doing now. On the contrary, he gave way to daydreaming. He is actually indulging in his mental consciousness, daydreaming. And Korra heard him well and babble in his sleep. After a time, he fell sick again. Many times Korra heard him that he was crying and babbling, means talking in his sleep, because the slave's innermost desire to go to his own house or native place. There was a deep passion for that feeling, and after completion of 5 years, he was unable to go there because of the Korra, because Korra wants the slave to work more for 2 years. Unless and until he work for 2 years for Korra, Korra will not give him a single rupee. And without having a rupee or money, how the slave can go to his native place? So once again he fell ill due to this disappointed state of mind. Thank you.